Well, the reactions to Macron's comments on Twitter are very negative. The French president is being confined to his Élysée palace. He's not getting out, actually, so he's only reacting on social media. And both on the left and on the right and within the Yellow Vest, the reactions to Macron have been very, very negative. The people do not seem to convinced about the reforms, about the gestures he made towards the Yellow Vest, and also about his plan to launch a grand national debate as per next week on what direction the country should take. So the reactions to Emmanuel Macron have been very negative. Of course, the government itself feels attacked now literally, because on last Saturday the offices of the government spokesperson were attacked, were stormed by Yellow Vests using a forklift. Now these images have shocked the political class, but most importantly the government itself, of course, who said that this is not an attack on a minister, but this is an attack on the Republic. So the reactions to Macron and the government are very negative, and it seems very, very complicated for the government to find a way out in this crisis.
What about this separate women's demonstration? Does that suggest a split in the Yellow Vest movement?
Well, the Yellow Vest movement was never one unified movement from the beginning, and the demonstrations yesterday by the women in Paris, but also in Toulouse, they wanted to show that a pacifist movement is also possible. They actually protested not only as Yellow Vests, but also to protest against the violence used by some Yellow Vests. So the movement was split from the beginning. There are many different demands. A lot of people do not agree with each other. There are many spokespersons, and they do not have the credibility according to other Yellow Vests. So it's a very diverse movement, which makes it particularly difficult for Emmanuel Macron and his government to reply to the demands of the Yellow Vests, because with whom are you going to negotiate? So that's one of the difficulties. But now we're already in the second month of these protests, and it's getting harder and harder for Emmanuel Macron to find a real solution.
Well, as you said, the second month of these protests. Do you see any end in sight?
Not really. Actually, the government hoped, of course, that over the holidays, Christmas and New Year's, that the movement would actually calm down, which happened last week. The process last week, where there were less people than the weeks before. But this weekend, there were actually more people again on the streets. So it doesn't really seem that there is an end to this movement. The Yellow Vests want more and more, and their main goal now is the resignation of Emmanuel Macron, which, of course, is never going to happen. But it does show that Emmanuel Macron is still facing the worst political crisis in his career.